What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today out of absolutely nowhere we got some brand new LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga gameplay with a whole 5-minute trailer showing off a bunch of new gameplay as well as actually some interviews with the developers. And so I'm going to be going over all of that in today's video and kind of just touching on the key talking points while I show all of the new gameplay in the background. Before we get into it, if you guys are new to the channel, then definitely hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. There's going to be plenty more LEGO Star Wars content on the way in 2022, but with that being said, let's get stuck right into it. So in this new little trailer, they showed essentially half and half between interviews with developers and actual brand new gameplay as well. And what I want to say first up about a lot of the gameplay that they showed in this little trailer is that, oh my god, the planets are looking insanely good and absolutely expansive as well. Obviously, we have already seen a lot of really awesome gameplay of some of the planets that we get to go to, and it's not like it's a surprise at this point that some of these maps are looking amazing because, like I said in some of the previous footage that we've already seen, they were already looking amazing. But there were some clips that sort of stood out in this trailer, specifically a section where I believe it was a Tusken Raider is actually sort of going up towards Jabba's palace, and it just looks absolutely insane. I cannot stress enough how great this game looks. It is starting to look more and more like a genuine open world game rather than just a typical LEGO game, and we've obviously known that for a while now, but every little bit of extra gameplay that we're getting in all these interviews and sit downs with the developers, it is becoming more and more apparent that this is absolutely different than any LEGO game that we've ever had before, and the more that I see, the more excited I'm getting. Now, something really big that they touched on was that they are actually trying to essentially blur the lines between having regular levels and just the freedom to do whatever you want. I'm sure most of you guys know by now that there are essentially 5 different missions per movie. However, in between a lot of those missions, there's going to be essentially smaller missions that do actually happen in the movies. They're not just little side quests, they're actually key sort of pivotal moments to those movies that are going to be taking place in essentially free roam within some of these planets. So in this little gameplay trailer, they seem to sort of emphasize that they really are trying to blur that line between having just a regular linear A to B type of experience, but also giving us essentially the freedom to do whatever we want. Now, obviously, this is following the Star Wars story, so to a certain extent, they do have to give us somewhat of a linear experience because there are certain missions that, we already know what happens and they have to sort of follow along with that story. But the fact that in between a lot of those missions, we're going to be able to do essentially whatever we want. We can continue on with the story, we can go and do little, smaller segments that we do see in those movies, or you can literally just travel to another planet and go do some side missions. The fact they're giving us so much freedom is actually insane to see. And again, we already knew a lot of this stuff, but just seeing it over and over again and seeing a lot of this new gameplay, it is starting to really reinforce just how expansive this game is. Now, something else awesome that they touched on was the weathering effects that they've actually added to this game. Obviously, there are a lot of different planets in this game. There are snow planets like Hoth, there's sand planets like Tatooine, there are some more muddy places like, say, Dagobah, for example, and on all of those different planets, no matter who you're playing as, there are actually weathering effects. So when you run through the mud, your character will actually get covered in mud. When you're running through the snow, your character will get snow all over them, and that is actually a pretty detailed thing to have in a LEGO game. That is something that a lot of AAA games don't even really go to that extent. I would say in the last 3 to 5 years that has become more of a common thing, but it's definitely never been a thing before in LEGO games, and the fact that they are adding that in, it just shows the detail and sort of the depth that they're going through to make this game feel as sort of realistic as it can. Obviously, it's a LEGO game, it's not going to feel realistic, but kind of like what they said before, they are essentially blurring the line between this being a LEGO game and, yeah, kind of feeling a little bit real in a way as well. Now, the last thing that I wanted to touch on was some of the stuff they mentioned about these side missions, and they showed this really awesome side mission where they actually kind of have to help a Wampa escape from Echo Base on Hoth. He's in there and he's apparently all nervous and he doesn't want to get caught by any of the rebels, and so you can actually help him escape, and it's a bit of a stealth mission. And obviously that's just one example, but the sort of uniqueness to a lot of these missions that they're talking about, it is actually just crazy to see. I never would have thought of something like that, just trying to help a Wampa escape from a base. That is literally the most random thing of all time, but that is the type of stuff we love to see in LEGO games. Yeah, just seeing the Wampa tiptoeing around Echo Base, it was just so funny to see, and that is the type of stuff I'm really keen to just sort of get around and explore, to find some of those just really weird and random missions that are around the planets. Obviously, in some of the LEGO games in the past, there have been, I guess, what you would consider to be side missions. You can kind of follow the main path, or there are little, side quests to do, but they're kind of reinforcing in a lot of these trailers and showing us that the side quest side of this game is essentially as big as the actual core storyline of the Skywalker Saga. We've seen so many little clips now of all of these different little side missions. There's even just stuff you can go to shooting ranges and try and hit as many targets as you can and stuff like that. There's so many things to do in this game. And like I said earlier, the more that we are seeing of this game, it is actually just getting ridiculous how excited I'm getting, because I did not expect it to be to this extent. When they first announced the game, I really was just expecting, you know, essentially the same thing as The Force Awakens, which in itself is a great game, but this is just like a whole other level. This is literally the equivalent of like a Red Dead Redemption 2, but in LEGO and in the Star Wars universe. It seriously is like a AAA open world game, and that is definitely something I didn't expect, and the more that we see, the more that is being reinforced. That is going to do it for this one though, guys. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to leave a like down below, and if you are new to the channel, then definitely hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications so you don't miss out on any upcoming LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga content. If you want to support the content that I make here on YouTube, then do consider supporting the channel over on Patreon. The link to that is down in the description. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and may the Force be with you always.